bit louder. You put this louder. Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Oh, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Prabhupada, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada. Oh, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Gurnitai, Jayo Gurnitai, Jayo Gurnitai, Jayo Gurnitai. Jayo Gurnitai, Jayo Gurnitai, Jayo Gurnitai, Jayo Gurnitai, Jayo Gurnitai. Jayo Gurnitai, Jayo Gurnitai. Jayo Gurnitai, Jayo Gurnitai. Jayo Jagannath, Jayo Jagannath, Jayo Baladeva, Jayo Subhadra. Jayo Jagannath, Jayo Jagannath, Jayo Baladeva, Jayo Subhadra. Jayo Jagannath, Jayo Jagannath. Jayo Baladeva, Jayo Subhadra. Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Vyasa Puja ki jai. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Shatashishibat. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtotra Shatashishimat. Tridandi Goswami His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Iskon Vartmanacharya Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Iskon BBT Founder Acharya His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Mathura Dhama ki jai, Navadvip Dhama ki jai, Jagannath Puri Dhama ki jai, Jagannath Swami ki jai, Vrindavan Dhama ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulasi Maharani ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol, Samaveta Bhaktarini ki jai. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees, oh, glories to the assembled devotees, oh, glories to the assembled devotees, oh, glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga, oh, glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Namahum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavad Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for coming for the all-auspicious celebration of Srila Prabhupada's Appearance Day, Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja ceremony. And today, can you please close the door? Today, I would like to speak about one of Srila Prabhupada's special qualities that is also related to his disciples. It's his care for devotees. And one devotee couple from Middle East, Vijay Venugopal Prabhu and his wife Prema Padmini, who are the pioneers of the Bhakti Vriksha program, which is devotee care program, they have compiled many stories in a book which is about 100 pages with small font. With bigger font it would be probably 200 pages, and compiled stories, anecdotes, examples of Srila Prabhupada's care for devotees in different areas. So I will read a couple of stories and also comment on them, and I hope they inspire you to care for devotees. I think this service is very, very pleasing to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I can't have it folded because I have to move it, so it has to be like this. I will start with a statement by Mukunda Goswami, one of Srila Prabhupada's first disciples, since 67, 66, 67, maybe 68, I don't know. But one of his first disciples in New York, when he started in the Bowery, Lower East Side of New York. I had a fortune to visit that place in maybe 2012. Where Srila Prabhupada started his movement, this storefront called Matchless Gift. How many of you have been there to Matchless Gift? Okay, so few devotees. So this book is called Care Personified, but I want to start with a quote from The Science of Self-Realization, and in German it has a different title, which is The Beauty of the Self. What is the German title?
Die Schönheit des Selbst.
Yeah, I'll try to repeat that someday. The Schöne. So Mukunda Maharaj has made a beautiful statement about Srila Prabhupada and about his relationship with Srila Prabhupada. So I will read it and start with this, and then we will go to chapter 8. And we will see there is several, maybe 12 or 15 chapters, but this chapter 8, I will tell you what kind of specific care and relation of Srila Prabhupada to his disciples is described. Srila Prabhupada was not just another Oriental scholar, guru, mystic, yoga teacher, or meditation instructor. He was the embodiment of a whole culture, and he implanted that culture in the West. To me and many others, he was first and foremost someone who truly cared, who completely sacrificed his own comfort to work for the good of others. He had no private life, but lived only for others. He taught spiritual science, philosophy, common sense, the arts, languages, the Vedic way of life, hygiene, nutrition, medicine, etiquette, family living, farming, social organization, schooling, economics, and many more things to many people. To me, he was a master, a father, and my dearest friend. So chapter 8 specifically describes Srila Prabhupada's comforting and counseling. His personal attention to devotees' problems. 1976, Vrindavan, the girl with cancer. Hari Sauri Das. So different disciples describe incidents and examples of Srila Prabhupada's care. Another recent arrival has been a mother and daughter, Antardanya Dasi and Manisha Dasi. Manisha is initiated even though in her early teens, but she is terminally ill with leukemia. Having given up any hope of a cure, they have come here so that Manisha can leave her body in the holy Dham. They requested a darshan with Srila Prabhupada, and he received them this morning just before his massage. When they came in, Manisha burst into tears as they explained her condition and prognosis. She is frightened by the prospect of imminent death and is clearly not mentally prepared for it. Despite the girl's weeping, however, Srila Prabhupada was firm and spoke rather strongly, focusing in on the reality of her condition. Rather than offering sympathies with some sentimental, body-based words of solace, Srila Prabhupada cut through the fear and doubt shrouding his disciples' mind and intelligence and met the problem head-on. Everyone is going to die, he said. Who is going to live? Who is here? Can you show me anyone who is going to live? Can you show me? Antardana shook her head. No, everybody is going to die. So today or tomorrow, everyone will die, he affirmed. So where is the anxiety? Die or not die, tomorrow or today, but one should chant Hare Krishna, that's all. Why one should be depressed? And everyone is going to die. I'm going to die tomorrow. He's going to die the day after tomorrow. Everyone will have to die. Who will live here? So what is the anxiety? Chant Hare Krishna. That's all. Jagadish told Srila Prabhupada that she had come to die in Vrindavan. Nobody will live, Prabhupada repeated. Don't be in anxiety. That's all. Anyone who has come to this material world will die. One is going to die today. Thank you. One is going to die today, another is going to die tomorrow. It is a question of first and second, but everyone will die. So before death, one should be complete in Krishna consciousness. That is success of life. The tree is standing for thousands of years. Thousands of years. So what is the use of living like that? A tree cannot chant Hare Krishna, but lives for thousands of years. Do you think that kind of living is very worthy, standing in one place, cannot move even, and what to speak of chanting? So you have got the chance to chant Hare Krishna. Utilize that. Don't be anxious that I am going to die. Who is going to live? Why don't you understand that? Nobody is going to live. So before death, one should be complete in Krishna consciousness. That is success. Prabhupada's direct and practical words helped Manisha focus. She stopped sobbing and regained her composure. But still, she had a fear. But if one is not Srila Prabhupada, what will happen? Prabhupada didn't quite understand her question and repeated it. If one is not complete in their Krishna consciousness, then what will happen? She will get again birth in a human body, he assured her. That is guaranteed, so that she'll get again chance of chanting. That is also great gain. Ordinary person, he does not know what body he is going to get, next body. But person who is in Krishna consciousness, chanting, he is guaranteed. Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe, Bhagavad Gita 6:41. He is guaranteed to take birth as human being in a very sacred family like Brahmana and very rich family. Because he had other commitments, Prabhupada had to end the darshan at that point. So I have to go. Despite the meeting being so short, however, Manisha was visibly relieved and thankful. His words had struck home. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, she said. Hare Krishna, nobody is going to live here. Prabhupada told her again as he rose from his seat. Everyone is going to die. Before death, chant Hare Krishna. With a compassionate smile of reassurance to his young disciple, he added, Don't be worried. Manisha's mother, though, still sought some further comfort. She is worried, Prabhupada, about. What is the worry? Prabhupada interjected. I have already said everyone is going to die. Antardhyana managed to be very specific. She is worried about seeing the Yamadutas. This is what she is worried about. Prabhupada addressed Manisha directly and repeated the practical formula for overcoming that. Chant Hare Krishna. Always think of Krishna, that's all. Manisha nodded, accepting his words as the proper solution. Yes, Srila Prabhupada, this is our business. Prabhupada concluded. The cats and dogs cannot do this. That is the advantage of human form of body. Both the mother and daughter were grateful and happy to get a few words of encouragement and guidance. Manisha left feeling heartened by her first personal meeting with her spiritual master, and the two of them will reside in the guest house until her departure. From a Transcendental Diary by Hari Sauri Prabhu, Volume 5. So this one is that I read is just a little longer, others are not so long, I think. So after I read every story, I will make a short comment. So now this story is relevant for all of us, although maybe most of us, or hopefully all of us, we don't have any terminal illness, but sometimes we meet devotees who have terminal illness, and it's not easy for them, not easy time. Nobody wants to die, or at least nobody wants to die so early if somebody is younger. So we see here how Srila Prabhupada was not comforting his disciple and her mother in some sentimental way, but in a spiritual way, giving her strength, giving her spiritual foundation, spiritual understanding, spiritual power. I remember when my father was near the end of his life, he was lamenting, and he didn't want to die. He was 83 years old. And he told me, he said, "You have some connections up there. Can you arrange that I extend my life for a couple of years? And I don't feel like dying now," something like that. And I told him, "We will all die. I will also die. Don't worry. You are eternal. You will not die, actually. You will just change your body." And he was listening, and it seems that he was pacified a little bit by this. And then I wasn't beside him when he died. He died when I was away. I was actually in another country. But they told me that he had a very peaceful expression on his face. And he has had some encounter with devotees, and he liked the deities. We put actually the picture of deities near his bed where he was staying. And he had encounters with devotees. He liked what we do, and he was inclined towards Krishna consciousness in some ways. Even my father was professor of psychology in the high school, and once, it's strange that professor of psychology is depressed, but once he told me he's depressed. And I told him, try chanting at least one round. And he chanted one round, and he felt better. He was less depressed after chanting one round. So there is this called palliative care, which is the art and science of helping those who are going to die soon, people who are going to die. So some devotees are very expert in this. I think her name is Ramboru Mataji. She wrote a book about it, about helping those who will going to depart, preparing them for that moment of departure from the body. And for all of us, this is relevant. Some of you are young and you don't think about it, but some of us are somewhat older, and sometimes we think about it. So it's very important to have spiritual consciousness when we are getting older and when we are about to die. And Srila Prabhupada showed this. He was just giving fearlessness to his disciples. So one of the duties of a leader, whether it's a spiritual master or it's a father or it's a husband, is to give fearlessness to his subordinates. Fearlessness. So if you want to be a leader, this will be your duty, to give fearlessness to people, so that they are not afraid of death, they are not afraid of suffering. We are afraid of pain, but pain is the constant situation, the constant experience that we have. Either it's emotional pain or mental pain or physical pain. We are afraid of pain, but we have been suffering so much that why should we be afraid of pain? It's there anyway. Who cares? You heard about chronic pain? One devotee, I just started having some chronic pain the last couple of weeks, and it's amazing. Krishna always sends you a link where you can read about your problem. So the problem is how to deal and how to overcome the chronic pain. And I know one Mataji in Radhadesh, senior Mataji, I meet her, "How are you doing?" She's quite senior. "How are you doing?" She says, "Well, I have pain, but I don't care anymore. Let it hurt. I'm going to just continue serving." So I thought, but that's a good point. I should think like this too. So, actually, one who loves is not afraid of pain. let me repeat this, one who has love in his heart, he's not afraid of pain. He's not afraid of pain that love also brings, because love can bring so much pain. Your beloved person can die, or your beloved person can leave you, or your beloved person can start hating you. So how do you deal with this? It hurts a lot. But if you are a real lover, you will not give up, and you will not become weak because of this pain. Pain is there to make you stronger, not to make you weaker. And Srila Prabhupada exemplified this. He was so bold. Okay, let us read another story. 1967, San Francisco. The abandoned boy, boy who is left abandoned, Shyama Sundar Das. My history with Prabhupada and ISKCON started in a strange way. I was an abandoned child at 6 weeks old. I lived in various families, group homes and other shelters until at 14 years old my biological mother decided she would give up her drugs and alcohol habits and give raising her son another try. I lived with her a very short time in California when she read in the Examiner that a new guru was in town. After a little thought, she decided that her previous lifestyle was more to her liking, and one day she drove me to Golden Gate Park. She said she would be back at 4 p.m. I went and sat with some cool people and charming elderly Indian gentlemen and watched what was happening and enjoyed the music. 4 o'clock came and went, no mom. Sorry. These people asked the elderly man if I could stay at the temple, and he said, all right. The temple was on Frederick Street, and it was so beautiful to me. Swamiji lived next door, upstairs apartment in room 32 or 33, and invited me to come up. I sat at the corner of his bed, and he said, after hearing about my crazy childhood, you've already experienced everything in this material world. You have been servant of this body. Now be Shyama Sundar Das. He talked and talked about so many things. Thinking back to that day in early 1967, my comments and contributions to the conversation were really lowly. But I was charmed and so relieved to have the love and protection, that's how he made me feel, of this grandfatherly man, that he overlooked my fallen condition and playfully slapped my shoulder and my hair. This is from the Prabhupada Connection website. So, Shyama Sundar Prabhu, he wrote, I hope this is the same Shyama Sundar, but he wrote this book about Srila Prabhupada shooting for the rhinos or rhinoceros, about how everything started in London, how they met George Harrison. Okay, this story is called, next story is called Even in Jail. But I just want to comment a little bit on this story, previous story. Like Krishna arranged that Narada Muni's mother was killed by the snake very early, and he remained alone. And he had no choice than to surrender to the Supreme Lord. Similarly here, this 14-year-old boy, he was abandoned by his mother, and then the grandfather appeared. Srila Prabhupada appeared. It was perfect arrangement of the Lord for Shyama Sundar Prabhu to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and of devotees. So Krishna makes this arrangement just to get us back to him. Now this is, we spoke yesterday a little bit about jail, so this is called Even in Jail. Baba Bhuti Das. One year, when Srila Prabhupada was in Pittsburgh, he received a letter from Australia. The devotees were having some problems there with the police, and the question was, whether they should spend a lot of money and have a very high-costing attorney, that's a lawyer, to try and save them from a court case. Prabhupada said that he wrote back to them and he told us a story. This means 4:45, isn't it? Or to 6? 5:45? Yeah? So we have until 6? Is this until 6? Yeah? 1 hour for this? Okay. He was sitting on his Vyasa-san and began to laugh before he told the story. He said that once there was a cow, and this cow was going to be sold to another farmer. But the cow actually didn't care who owned it, because the cow knew that her only business was to give milk. She didn't care which farmer owned her. Then Prabhupada said, in the same way, if our devotees go to jail, that is also all right, because devotees' only business is to chant Hare Krishna. He is in jail, his business is to chant Hare Krishna. If he is out on the street, his business is to chant Hare Krishna. You like that? Actually, I think there are many jail stories with devotees, and I mentioned one yesterday. I was also in jail in Macedonia for 2 hours before they exported me out of the country. I didn't do any criminal activity, but somebody made a plot so that they kicked me out, because I was supposed to be a temple president of this small center, and some neighbors heard about it, and because I'm from another country, they maybe didn't like this idea, or maybe didn't like idea that Hare Krishnas have a temple president. So they arranged, and with police, maybe pay them or something, to just kick me out of the country for 2 years, illegally. It was illegal completely. And they didn't let me out. I just wanted to take my stuff if I have to go. They said, no, you cannot get out of prison. You have to be in the prison next 2 hours. So I asked one devotee to bring me things. And I was thinking, wow, this is very good. Only 2 hours. Imagine if I have to stay 2 days or 2 months. The same devotee is talking, Baba Bhuti Das. This is in Mayapur, interrupting Srila Prabhupada when he was busy. The morning after the second evening, when Prabhupada was alone in his room reading a letter, I spoke to him and asked if I could take sannyas. He looked at me as if I had disturbed him, and I felt very much embarrassed for having bothered him. Then the next day, when Prabhupada was preparing to leave, I was walking through Srila Prabhupada's room, and he looked up as if 24 hours had never passed and said, and as far as your request to take sannyas, you may do so at Mayapur this year. You have been doing nice work here in Madras. So can you imagine? Srila Prabhupada remembered 24 hours later, he was so considerate that he replied to his questions. Now, if you like these stories, I have this book and I can send it to you, or I can send it to one of you and she or he can actually send it to everyone. The book is called Care Personified, and it's 98 pages of PDF, very thick, very small font. You can copy it. I mean, I will also try to copy it in Word and make it like more reader friendly, but it's a PDF file, And all these stories are there. So if you like to read these stories, I can send it to someone. Maybe to Devashri Radhika Mataji, I can send it, and she can send it to all of you, or to some of you who have access to your list of emails. And then you can read all the stories. I'm just reading few stories today. I will read one more, and then I will speak till the end of the class. Fighting with God brothers, answering doubts. Bhargavadas, I said, Prabhupada, sometimes I fight with my God brothers. Is that bad? He said, no, not necessarily. I asked Prabhupada, sometimes I have problems and the spiritual master isn't there and it's too detailed for the scriptures. What should I do? And he said, if you chant Hare Krishna very nicely, all the answers will come from within. That was a timeless answer. So we try this sometimes, but it doesn't always work. We have to have mediation or go to court, things like that. So there is another story about prison, but I will speak a little bit more. I cannot see the clock there, actually. There is this curtain. How much? What? 10 to 6. Okay, so I will speak a few minutes and then ask for questions. So Srila Prabhupada has done a miracle. In 11 or 12 years that he was active in the West, he has opened more than 100 centers and initiated about 5,000 disciples. And he has left such a legacy, such an amazing legacy, that his disciples continue actually to carry on this movement very enthusiastically. And there is again very strong initiative to put Srila Prabhupada in the center, to put Srila Prabhupada's Vani in the center. And this website, which is online encyclopedia, Vanipedia, is dedicated also to creating a platform online for Srila Prabhupada's preaching. And it's doing amazing things. I mean, they're creating a page for each Prabhupada sentence. Can you imagine that? From Krishna book, for example. This is worshipping every sentence of Srila Prabhupada. This is incredible. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, one who reads this conversation worships me with his intelligence. So devotees in Vanipedia worshipping Srila Prabhupada's words and creating platform for him to preach. Vanipedia.org, I recommend that you visit. So we want to, like Vishnumurti Prabhu, my friend, director of Vanipedia, he says, we want to invoke Srila Prabhupada's Vani presence. So we have one forum where we discuss different things, like advisory forum on a global level, and we created a sub-team called Srila Prabhupada position. So we want his position to be the highest. Like also the GBC, our leaders, they want this. But he said, I would like to call, it's called SPP, and he said, I would like to call this team Srila Prabhupada's presence, not position. Srila Prabhupada presence. So invoking Srila Prabhupada Vani presence, and he says, this is the second coming of Srila Prabhupada. We want to create a second coming of Srila Prabhupada. So I want to encourage all of you to develop even stronger relationship with Srila Prabhupada. He is our grandfather. And through studying more carefully his teachings, not only books, but letters, conversations, stories like this, remembrances, all these things, we learn about him and how he was dealing with his disciples, and all these stories are very personal. And in his letters he has given wonderful personal instructions. You can find instructions for yourself also. You can get clarification. You can get clarification about certain questions that you have, because Srila Prabhupada answers in details about certain questions that devotees ask. And these questions that devotees ask that are very personal, very, very personal problems. So take time to develop your relationship with Srila Prabhupada and to be absorbed in his Vani and to feel connection with him every single day. You will become fearless if you feel that connection with a pure devotee. You will become fearless because he is fearless. He is always with Krishna. He is completely... also Srila Prabhupada's name before he became Bhaktivedanta Swami was Abhay, which means fearless. Yeah. And this was, I think, indication from the Lord that he will do something fearless. He will go and take a risk and spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. So we are not great preachers, we are not great teachers, we are not great devotees, we are not great coaches, we are not great counselors. We want to bring people to Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. He is the best coach, he is a Maha coach, he is a Maha counselor, he is a Maha teacher, he is a Maha everything. And we want people to take shelter of him, not all of us, but we should be also very caring about people and support them and help them with their difficulties. Everyone will be tested. So when you are tested, it's hard time. So you need support, you need someone to listen to you, you need someone to understand you, you need someone to hug you or to wipe your tears or whatever. And to go through these hard times with someone's support and to see that this person is actually an extended hand of Lord's mercy and of Acharya's mercy. And Srila Prabhupada was so kind that when his disciples would leave, for example, like if a sannyasi would leave Krishna consciousness, they would say, oh, he should commit suicide, you know, in the Shastras it is said this and this and that. And Prabhupada said, no, we should make it easier for him to come back and to continue with his devotional service. And he would accept and even give them again position to devotees who have left and who have been taken a lot of responsibility before. So he was extremely patient, tolerant, and merciful, extremely caring. He would remember if somebody would have a scar, he would remember that, meet them after several days or several weeks and say, how are you doing, how is your scar? And they would be shocked. How he remembers my scar. So Srila Prabhupada is actually an ocean of mercy. And many of his disciples in their Vyasa Puja offerings, they describe, you will listen today also, they describe also many incidents and instances of his oceanic mercy. And we are so fortunate that he has come to this planet and that has offered us shelter of Krishna consciousness and then have guided us so well, and he is still guiding us, he is still present, he is still guiding us with his Vani or instructions. And please take advantage of the books, please take advantage of the lectures, please take advantage of the letters, and please take advantage of the conversations. And you will find amazing things that you have never heard, but they are very relevant for you personally. So thank you very much for coming to this beautiful festival yesterday and tomorrow and today. And I would like to stop here. Do you have any questions about Srila Prabhupada?
Hare Krishna, thank you. This morning I was listening to a lecture from Srila Prabhupada where he makes a similar point which I think you even covered in the beginning of the class, of how when we are Krishna conscious and when you are in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada makes a point that there is a guarantee that you will get to continue it in the next birth. And then I think you also mentioned, Srila Prabhupada mentioning that you even get a human birth following that. And sometimes I get confused how it works, because I think that I understand how that this is like a balance that we are building and it never diminishes. But at the same time, in this lifetime, there are so many things we do wrong. So how does it really work that in the next birth, is it like a guarantee that we get a human birth, or maybe at some point when we turn to Krishna, or at some human birth, we'll again continue Krishna consciousness?
It depends on the sincerity of the disciple, on how he goes about Krishna consciousness, of his or her attitude also depends. Krishna takes into consideration all these things. So if somebody makes mistakes, but he is very sincere and has a proper humble attitude, then this person actually, I think, will be liberated or get another chance. So I think it depends. Krishna sees the heart. Krishna sees the heart of everyone, and depending on this, he will determine our next destination. Okay? Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Vyasa Puja ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.